So when he debuted right after the Ruthless Aggression promo in 2002, where were you at the time?
I had just came back to UPW right around that time. See, what happened is again, so I ended up getting injured, and then I had surgery on my ankle. And so Cena kept going with it. And, Cena went on to do everything we know he did. He ended up getting signed by OVW shortly thereafter, I believe, maybe a half of a year tops, I think, from when I left. And then, so for me, I took 2 years off. And then I came back, trying to think of the time frame in years, but it was a couple of years after that. So yeah, I think right around the time his debut is when I was just coming back to UPW.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what was the reaction to the UPW wrestlers and alumni seeing that moment of Cena cutting the Ruthless Aggression promo? I'm John Cena, and just the stiff as a board, but at the same time, it's like, man, he's finally there. He's here, and Kurt Angle, out of anyone, having the opportunity to work with him that early on.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific talks of it because, well, see, by the time I came back to UPW, you had kind of a new crew, guys, some of the old faces, but a lot of new faces, just like anywhere else. And I just know that, we were seeing, Cena have success, various people out of UPW either getting signed and going to OVW or even being signed and staying in California for a short time for a while there. But then, and then, like Cena and others starting to debut. So it kind of, everybody just knew that, like, you were inspired by the people who came before you type thing. And it was like, you also knew you were in the right place because it's like, oh, wow, like you just, one thing about starting around that time and encountering UPW for me is that it at least gave me a clear path of exactly what I needed to get into wrestling. Like I had UPW, but I also seeing John Cena and seeing the guy who got signed by him, Bad Boy Basil, and then seeing just all the other guys, Hardcore Kid and Sylvester, it kind of gave the idea of like, oh yeah, this is kind of what they're looking for. As if you should already know. If you're a wrestling fan, it's not hard to figure out, most of the guys we've grown up. I mean, you at least you don't have to necessarily be the biggest guy, but you got to have some kind of look that stands out, or you got to, if you're walking through the airport, is the one we always use in wrestling. It's like if you're walking through the airport, does somebody, do you attract attention as somebody who's either an athlete or important or just or a public figure, anything like that?
Yeah. I interviewed a really major WCW star before, and he called it the Walmart test. You gotta
you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said funny. You gotta walk into, you gotta go into Walmart and see if someone stands out, if someone different than everybody else, that's the one to pull. So yeah, very
there's
interesting.
a lot of different metaphors for that, but I mean, you get the gist of it. But so yeah, we were motivated, and we knew. Like for me personally, I just knew like, okay, wow, like, I seen all the success Cena and these other guys were having, and it just kind of gave me some direction. If anything, for me being a little bit younger than all those guys, I kind of looked up to guys like Cena and, these other guys, because it was like, oh, okay, it showed me a path to take.
Yeah. And so 2002 to 2005, he was still, he started off trying to, kind of become, a star, got thrust right into an angle with Kurt Angle with a match, and then Jericho and shortly after that. I mean, that's a really good, two people to start off your career with. That's kind of a dream to anyone coming out of UPW to say, hey, we're going to go from Kurt Angle to Chris Jericho out of anybody. That's very, very good. And yeah, he had some things in there, and he's even said before there was a moment where he was about to leave because they found out, because he was kind of thrust into there, and then he really didn't live up to the hype. And then there was some times where he was almost fired. And so the freestyle gimmick actually came from, I believe, a plane ride or a bus ride, or I think it was a bus ride or something like that, where he was
Stephanie
freestyling.
McMahon.
Yeah, Stephanie McMahon. Yeah, well, I'm like just the thought of that. Just what are your thoughts on that? Just as far as someone just kind of being themselves and being themselves around other people, and that allowed him to really catapult where he eventually became, like you said, the next Hogan off a whim like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a funny thing. So, in that case, it worked, but you kind of got to be careful, because sometimes if you show them the wrong thing and then they run with it, now you're stuck maybe doing something ridiculous or doing something you did not want to do. You gave them a bad idea. Like, I remember I just heard the Undertaker the other day talking about something where he was worried about a gimmick he was going to get based on an idea like that. But
the Survivor Series Eggman.
That's it. You heard that too, then? Yeah, you heard that. He was worried he was going to get some kind of egg gimmick. So then once he heard the Undertaker, he was like, it clicked. He was all in. You're like, okay, that's better than the egg. So, what was your original question on that? I think I got diverted a little bit.
No, that's all right. Just John Cena, just basically acting who you are, and just just on a whim.
Well, it worked. It worked for Cena, and I don't think anybody again saw that coming either. I mean, how could you have predicted that he was going to be or have a rapping gimmick? If you'd seen in UPW, he was the prototype